there was a lot of talk that TikTok was being controlled by the Chinese, right? So what was happening?
Yeah, so what we were being told conveniently after October 7th and the whole Israel-Palestine conflict really started to heat up, we started to be told that TikTok is, controlled by the Chinese, and so they are stealing our Americans' data, which I'm not saying that's not true. Obviously, there is 100% truth to that. It was owned by the Chinese. And so our government wanted to step in and make sure that it was sold to Americans, right? But who did it end up being sold to? So I don't know if you guys saw the influencer meeting that President Netanyahu had with a bunch of right-wing influencers this past week, but he was basically talking to them and saying, well, we need to crack down on rising anti-Semitism in the US, and so we're going to have to basically start pumping out this anti-Israel or pro-Israel, pro-Jew messaging and censoring social media. Is essentially not in those words, but that is what he was saying. He said, what's great is we just got TikTok. We just acquired TikTok, and now we're hoping to negotiate with Elon Musk too and see what we can do about X. And this is because the owner of Oracle now owns 40% of TikTok, or is about to own it. And
Larry Ellison, yeah.
Yeah, Larry Ellison, and he is a Jewish billionaire born in Israel who is very tight with Netanyahu. And instantly, people aren't allowed to post the juice box emoji in
Which is
comments.
very racist, by the way.
People aren't allowed to use the juice box emoji now because it can mean Jews.
Well, did you ever notice that the straw is bent, and you know who else used to put their arm out and bend it up? You know what I mean? And the straw is like a little bit, it looks like a failed painter might have drew it.
Yeah, so it's like, is that really, it's like, it sort of feels like Trump is just selling out our generation's ability to speak freely to a foreign government and foreign people. And I don't know, how do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, boo. Well, okay. Well, yeah, but here's where you get deeper into the abyss, right? So you're looking at censorship, and you go, okay, here's where the gaslighting comes in. Trump's signing over the transfer of sale, or trying to. I think it's still in process. These are very complicated orders. He's like, I'm really happy that the algorithm is back in control of Americans. Now, okay, so these are good Americans, right? These are good Americans. We're not racist, right? We're the party of the right. This is MAGA. This is a big banner party. So then let's look at who's owning this now. Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison is funding the Tony Blair Institute in the United Kingdom. The Tony Blair Institute has been the policy experts behind what? The digital ID that they're implementing under Keir Starmer, which is a universal database that you cannot work without registering with the government under an ID that can be revoked. So Larry Ellison, the good guy, who's the American guy, who's supposed to be helping us to free up our algorithm, is currently creating a totalitarian identification structure inside of the United Kingdom. And I look at people's actions, not their words. So a lot of people would like to focus on the fact that he's Jewish, and maybe that's what they would like to, on both sides. They would like to say he's bad because he's Jewish, or you can't criticize him because he's Jewish, so he's good. And I would say that's irrelevant to me. What I would like to see from someone like that is, your religion, your ethnicity aside, what is the content of your character? I'm going to throw their script back on him. I thought we're egalitarian. I thought that we have a meritocracy. I thought that everybody can play, but you've got to show yourself to be the best and the brightest, and also align with our values. But what's happened is what are our values? Well, everybody knows that back in about 1996, up until about 2001, there was a plan, right? Originally with Rumsfeld and a few of the neocons. They wanted to invade Iraq. They wanted to transform the military-industrial complex away from the Cold War and to weaponize it into a global universal empire. Well, someone else wanted to do that. His name was Benjamin Netanyahu, who allegedly also assassinated his opponent. This guy has been killing people for a long time. People that don't fall in line, he tends to have them shot. You can even look at Wikipedia, which is not a good source, and over decades, there have been dozens and dozens of confirmed murders on behalf of this government. Now, the United States isn't any better. We've seen even Boeing allegedly murder their own whistleblowers. So it's not like one government is necessarily more corrupt, but you have two individuals come together, these neoconservatives and these Zionist conservatives, deciding that we both want control. We're going to wage war on the Arab world. This is well documented, and we're going to have to find a country to invade. So our war for free speech starts when the definitely not inside job 9/11, that for sure they just found a passport on the ground and don't know who turned it in. That's for sure what happened. That one that we knew was Osama bin Laden, but we also had to invade Iraq too. I can't track the story anymore. I don't remember. It's like, all I know is now we're everywhere. We are in Libya, Syria, we are in Yemen, we are in Iran, we are in Iraq. We're going back to Afghanistan. It's like Vegas or whatever, 4 years later. We had so much fun. We just got to get back in with those people, because their craft beer scene is top of the line there. And so we get involved with these people. Now what's happened is, I don't know if you saw, but there was reports out of the DOD during this Iran invasion that were presented by Jack Posobiec, presented by Mike Cernovich, that were shared, and they're also like from the Gray Zone, and I believe there's one other publication that were verified that during the invasion of Iran that there were IDF commanders barging into rooms in the Pentagon, giving them commands on what they needed to do, and nobody was standing up. Now, that might sound scary to you. That might sound like, what do you mean a foreign country is telling us what to do? What it is that their country and our country have become intertwined ideologically to where the Netanyahu's desire for a greater Israel project, is what they're calling it, to control the region and to restore his kingdom, aligns with the United States neoconservative idea to wager a war against Islam in order to bring Western civilization and a democracy to the entire world. It's a huge reason why we're against North Korea, why we're against Russia, why we're against China, because they do not share our version of civilization. This is a utopian sort of, you might call it like a Babelistic vision for the future, to become one and to have one universal globalist empire. So when we talk about globalism, when we talk about Zionism, when we talk about neoconservatism, in 2025, they're universally the same thing. And so with that, anything that gives power to the people, anything that gives power to the populace, they have to destroy it. And what Netanyahu declared, and these are very sensitive topics, what Netanyahu declared the other day is this thing called the Eighth Front War. Did you guys see that? The Eighth Front War? Where Netanyahu said this, you can go look it up. He said that people like myself, like Sarah, which I'll let her talk on, that he called us the woke Reich, okay? Now, we know James Lindsay, when he's not, checking out girls' butts with his daughter, he tweeted, that was very weird, okay? That was very weird. To each his own, it's a free country, but I don't do that. So when he's not doing stuff like that, he has touted himself, he's deceived the right wing into thinking he's conservative. He tweeted out years ago that he was going to pretend to be a Christian and penetrate Christian circles and kind of to mock us. And he's done so. He's getting invited into churches. He's being invited onto the stages of Turning Point, into PragerU. And I've been invited and still am invited around those circles today. They're not horrible people. I like PragerU. I like Turning Point. I support what they're doing. But James, not so much. Now, James comes out and he creates this term with Konstantin Kisin, who also is funded by a billionaire in Australia, to take this phrase called the woke right. You guys heard of that? The woke right? Now, they've defined it as many different things, but really what the woke right was it is an ideological battle phrase that was created to try to gatekeep and isolate a growing portion of patriotic individuals in the right wing from gaining any standing. And they want to do to us in the right wing what the left did to us in Trump's first administration, which is to label us, they labeled us Nazis. Remember that? They called us all Nazis. And that was ridiculous. A lot of our parents fought against Nazis, or our grandparents fought against Nazis. And I don't think any of us, secretly has a swastika tattoo on in here or anything like that. It was kind of a ridiculous statement. Well, who were they calling Nazis? It was Trump's original base. National populists who wanted to stop immigration, who wanted to end the Fed, who wanted a return of transparent elections. We wanted to clean up the streets, and we wanted to get rid of gangs, cartels, and the drug epidemic. This doesn't sound racist. This doesn't sound
and
discriminatory.
Stop foreign wars.
Yes, and stop foreign wars. Well, now that Trump sold out to Miriam Adelson, and now that Trump has transitioned his power to get into office, has given and conceded power to people like Mark Levin, who were against Trump in the first administration, and though he's a sweet guy, Glenn Beck, who was against Trump in the first administration. Now these are the spokespeople. Remember how bad Ben Shapiro criticized Trump the whole first administration. Now he's MAGA. So MAGA's been co-opted. And with that, just like the left, we are facing a two-front war now. We have the left, which I will concede is actually our enemy. Like, I think the left is my enemy. These are communists. These are Bolsheviks. These are horrible people who mutilate our children. But what's happened now is that there is a group under the guidance of Netanyahu and the neoconservatives who've declared war on us. And they have said that the woke right, all the people that hold the same values from Trump's first admin, the people who got him elected, people like myself, we're now the enemy of MAGA. We're not just we're the enemy of the Republican Party. That's why people like myself will get labeled. I haven't changed, but the people who control MAGA have changed. And so what they've done, like with TikTok, is they've used institutional power to target naive Republicans, because we don't want China in control of our devices, into thinking that we're getting rid of TikTok because of China, but in reality, we are taking control of it to protect what? The neoconservative, Zionist, ideological war, which is to create an endless sea of wars overseas that basically has no end, and to institute international global control.